Joe Rogan recently came out and said he heard a rumor that Jon Jones was asking the UFC for $30 million to fight Tom Aspinall, and the UFC is going to pay it. Daniel Cormier recently gave his take on this. DC does not think the UFC will pay Jon $30 million, but maybe 15 to 20.
I'll tell you guys right now, as a person that has been involved in big fights, a person that has sold pay-per-views, a person that at his time was at the top of the pay scale in the UFC as the heavyweight and light heavyweight champion. $30 million was literally a world away from anything we were making. I remember when I got paid in New York, I got like a big bump to take a fight on 3 weeks' notice, which ultimately became my salary, and people were astounded with the number. But I will tell you, it was a fraction of what that number that he's asking for is. It was nowhere near that. Let me look at the gate from Madison Square Garden. UFC 3, let's see. Jones versus Miocic gate. According to CEO at a $16 million gate. That's a massive gate. That's a massive gate from Jon Jones. Okay, how many pay-per-views did they sell? Now, when you start looking at it like that, you start going, I don't know if his ask is as crazy as people are saying. Hogan thinks that the UFC will pay the $30 million to get Jon Jones in there with Tom Aspinall. I'm not sure he gets to 30, but if you ask for 30 and you get 20 or you get 15, that's a win for Jon Jones on his way out.
Ariel Helwani also gave his take on whether or not the UFC will pay Jon Jones $30 million. Ariel thinks the UFC could pay that to Jon and give Tom Aspinall $5 million and still make profit. He thinks Jon absolutely deserves 30.
Agent Spooky, do you have any insight on what Joe Rogan recently said about Jon Jones? He says Jones is asking for $30 million and he thinks the UFC is going to give it to him. I mean, Jones was asking for big bucks when, he was trying to fight Francis Ngannou, or that was in the works. Do I know if it's exactly 30? No. Am I surprised by that number? No. If you compare what the top heavyweights are getting in boxing, that's actually quite cheap, to be honest. And I think the UFC if the UFC paid Jon Jones 30 and they pay Tom Aspinall 5, let's just say, they're still going to make a massive profit off this fight. From the gate to the pay-per-view to everything involved, they're still going to make a massive profit. So there's nothing really to worry about there. It would be a big number. It wouldn't be the biggest number. Conor has made more. Khabib has made a lot of money as well. I don't know if it's quite 30, but I know the boys in the back are going to talk about that more tomorrow. And Kevin Lee alluded to it during our interview yesterday. Not a lot of guys are in that ballpark. A lot of boxers are in that ballpark who are way less accomplished than Jon Jones. Jon deserves, in my opinion, more than 30 for this fight and for everything he's done in his career. Does he get it? I don't know. Should he get it? Yes.
Jan Blachowicz thinks that Jon Jones called out Alex Pereira because he's afraid of Tom Aspinall. Jan says Tom is a guy who can really stop Jon. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Jan said, I think Jon Jones does this because Alex Pereira is now a big star in the UFC. Everybody knows him. He knows what he's doing. But I believe he should fight against Aspinall. But I think he's a little bit afraid of him because Aspinall is someone who can really stop him and beat him. I think he believes if he could fight against Pereira, he can take him down, control him, maybe something like this. With Aspinall, it will not be so easy. It would be a very tough fight for Jon Jones with Aspinall. That's why he knows what's going to happen. That's why he doesn't talk too much about Aspinall. But we will see. Maybe they've got some plans for that. Maybe they are waiting. Money will be bigger and they take the fight. Maybe he would like to fight against Pereira, don't lose and maybe finish his career. You'd have to ask him, not me. Bryce Mitchell and Sean Strickland are not fans of Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg recently announced that Facebook will roll back a number of its censorship policies to become more of a free speech platform similar to X. This is not enough for Bryce and Sean. Bryce thinks Zuck is a liar.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
Bryce Mitchell posted this video to his Instagram addressing this situation, and Sean Strickland left a comment saying, "My dog. Facts."
So I saw a video where Mark Zuckerberg apologized for censoring people with his platform, like the most popular platform ever, and he censored everybody, and he's come out and admitted it now. And I do not forgive you, Mark, and I'll tell you why. Because you're a liar, and you're not even sorry, and you don't even accept full responsibility. Here's the thing is you said in your video, oh, our calculations were off and some people got censored. That is a lie from hell. You know exactly who you're censoring, and you know exactly why you're censoring them. You won't even admit to censoring people deliberately, and you know you did it. You're a liar, dude. I'm one of the people you censored. My followers on Instagram ain't gone up in the last couple of years, dude. I know I've been banned. I know some of my posts get banned. If I make a flat earth post, fact checkers come out and tell me this is wrong, that's wrong, and they shut down certain videos. You're not for free speech, Mark. You are a liar. I do not forgive you for your fake apology. It's not a real apology. You don't even admit to being wrong.
Michael Bisping reacts to Jamahal Hill recently saying that he's not worried about what Jiri Prochazka is going to do, and he's only worried about what he will do. Bisping doesn't think that's the best idea due to how unpredictable and dangerous Jiri is. Jamahal versus Jiri goes down at UFC 311 next week.
I'm watching an interview with Jamahal with, what's his name, James Lynch. Have you seen his stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, I know James, yeah.
James is really good at what he does, by the way. So I'm watching them two having an interview, and James said to him, so what's the plan with you? Is it just, is there anything particular that you got to take into consideration, given his style and the way that he operates and stuff like that? He's like, no, it's just business as usual. I just do my thing. I couldn't care less what they're going to do. And I was like, well, yeah, you have got to fight your fight. Of course you do. But you've also got to look at what the threat that your opponent brings. Jiri is unique in many ways.
Awkward.
He's very awkward, unique, powerful, aggressive. He's in your face, massively unpredictable, ridiculously experienced. I mean, Jamahal did say he doesn't believe that Jiri's chin will be marginalized because of the two knockouts to Alex Pereira. And I agreed with what he said there. He said, unless you get really badly knocked out, I thought he was going to say like Bisping against Henderson, but he didn't. I thought he was going to say that. He said, but unless you get sparked out where you're unconscious for minutes, he said he doesn't think that really affects, your chin in general.
Here's some footage of Belal Muhammad training with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Belal is currently in camp with Islam Makhachev and Umar Nurmagomedov, helping them prepare for UFC 311 next week. Despite the backlash, Bo Nickal believes his recent win over Paul Craig was good for his career. Bo defeated Paul via unanimous decision, and afterwards fans were saying his hype train was derailed. Bo thinks the experience he gained from that fight will help him in the future.
So I got something out of that fight that was way more valuable than a win, which was 15 minutes of time in the cage, standing on my feet. And that's something that I believe is going to pay massive dividends down the line when I'm fighting for world championship, when I'm defending my belt. I just have I have way more confidence now than previously because I did something that I've never done before against a 30-fight veteran who's beaten world champions. And so I think that in the middle of the fight, I felt like I was winning. I felt like I was controlling and dominating. So it was really just a matter of, this is great for me to continue to get experience and build my confidence, and that's the biggest thing that I lack right now is experience. So if I can get 15 minutes, then that's great. And it's not maybe the performance that people expected, but I think long term, when you zoom out and look at my career, this is a massive gain for me in a huge. It's going to be paid huge dividends, as I said. I went into the fight very open, and I wanted to see where the fight goes. So I felt really, of course, when you're standing up, there's always that chance of the guy catching you. But I felt like you can just feel the energy in the fight. And I'm like, this guy's not going to catch me. He's not going to hit me with anything big. I'm confident. I'm beating him up. So I'm going to keep it here. Let's say, things would have been more competitive or things wouldn't have gone well or I get hit with a shot. Then guess what? Or I feel like, guess what? At the end of the round, I need to get this takedown to seal the round. That's what I'm going to do, right? So I was definitely open to getting the takedown. In my mind, I'm like, I'm destroying this guy. I'm dominating him. And I think, towards the end of the third, I cut him, I rocked him. I could have got a little more aggressive and went for the finish when he was on the cage there. But, it was just, again, a good experience for me. Next time I know when I'm in that situation, I can capitalize more. And so, yeah, I felt like, if the fight, I was ready to go wherever the fight needed to go to make it happen to win. I felt like I was dominating. And if I hadn't been dominating, I would have taken him down.
Chris Curtis reveals that he was offered to fight Alex Pereira on short notice back in 2022 and declined. This was before Alex fought Bruno Silva. Curtis says that he saw how big Alex was in an elevator and realized he had no path to victory. Curtis was recently booked to fight Kevin Holland at UFC 307, but had to withdraw due to a broken foot. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Curtis said, "I don't care about any particular matchup. I'm just here doing things. I like Kevin. I'm hoping he wins. I'm a Kevin Holland fan. He's a funny dude. I'm always hoping he wins. If they put it back together, fine. If not, whatever. I'm just here to fight people. I don't usually say no unless your name's Alex Pereira. Then I've definitely said no. Outside of that, I'm just here to fight people. So whatever comes up, comes up. I just want to have fun fights. They offered me that fight before Bruno Silva, the Bruno Silva fight, or maybe it's the one Sean Strickland took and they offered it to us first. I was like, no. I'm not fighting him on kind of short notice. I was like, there's no way. Because not only do I not want to fight him, I'm not doing it on short notice. I met him in New York in Madison Square Garden. We were in the elevator and I was like, what size are you? People who don't know Alex Pereira don't realize how big this man is in real life. It is distressing how large this dude is. I was like, you know what? I don't have an answer for this. So I'm just going to say no. I've said yes to everything else. I'm going to cash that goodwill in and say no here. I say yes to every fight but that one. I was like, I do not have a path to victory here. I'm fine. Despite going back and forth recently and calling each other out to fight, Gilbert Burns and Colby Covington ran into each other and took a photo yesterday. Apparently this happened at a concert. Home of Fight posted this to X. It says Gilbert Burns and Colby Covington taking a picture together at a concert. The full story behind this is coming tomorrow on the Show Me the Money podcast. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's in reference to Bo Nickal talking about a potential matchup with Khamzat Chimaev. It's from Tyson Hop. It says, Bo Nickal, he's from the mountains. I'm from America. What the f? The second one's from Longshot Died Tired. It says, Bo's even boring when he talks. And the final one's from The Eagle Has Landed. It's in reference to Tony Ferguson potentially signing with the GFL. It says, Tony the type of guy to come back as a referee. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.